Now let's take a deeper look at these function imports. So we go back to our model. Let's open up model browser. And under function imports, in our conceptual model, let's open up get courses. Now I want to introduce you to a few things here. On the top, you see the name of the function import in our conceptual model. So this is going to be the name of the method in our DB context. We can always change that here, and it will internally map to the same stored procedure, which is specified here, get courses. Now, you might be asking, why do we need to change the name of the function import? Let me show you a real-world example. Let's take a look at func get author courses. I deliberately created this function to simulate some kind of legacy database. In a lot of legacy databases, we have functions that start with func and stored procedures that start with sp. Now, even though in the legacy databases this was an accepted practice, these days I don't want to have a method in my DB context that has a name like func get author courses. So let's go back to the program. So in my DB context, look, we've got func get author courses. This method name does not follow standard C# naming conventions. So we can change that to a proper method name, and it will still map to the same function in the database. So back to the model, function imports. Here's the function. We open it up, and here we can simply change the name to get author courses. And look, still maps to func get author courses. Okay. We save the model to make sure that the classes are regenerated. Now back to the program. Look, this method does not exist there anymore. And now it's called get author courses. And that's a much better name. Okay, let me show you one more thing before we finish this lecture. So back to the model. Let's take a look at get courses function import. Look at the return type of this method. Here we've got a few options. None, which is like void, is useful for methods that do not return anything. Scalar is used to return scalar values like integer, character, string, whatever. Now in this case, we've got complex. What is complex and how is it different from entities? Well, entities are, as you know, the classes that we have in our entity data model. But the entity framework also supports a different kind of type, which is called a complex type. A complex type is a dumb data structure that does not support change tracking, which means when we change the state of these objects, the changes are not going to be reflected in the database when we save them. So there are simple data structures for returning data from the database. Now, when you import a stored procedure or a function that returns data into your model, Entity Framework generates a complex type that maps to the result returned from your stored procedure. So in this case, it's called getCourses_result. Now, where are these complex types in the model? How can we say them? Let's cancel this. So back in our conceptual model, in the model browser, look, we've got entity types, which we have seen before. But we also have complex types. So in this case, two of my function imports return data, and that's why we have two complex types here. Let's expand this. So here are the properties of this complex object. Author ID, course ID, description, and so on. It looks exactly like my course entity that I have here. So in this case, there is no need to create an additional class and pollute our model. We can reuse the existing course entity and use that as a return type of our stored procedure. So let's go and change the definition of the function import and reuse the existing course entity. So we go here to get courses, function import. And I'm going to change the return type to entities and select course here. Now, note that the complex type is still there. It's not deleted from our model. but the return type of the function import is changed to use an entity. So now it's up to us to go and delete this complex type. So right-click, delete from model. Now, you might be asking, in what situations do we need a complex type? A good example is when a store procedure joins two or more tables together and return the data. In that case, the result cannot be mapped to one of your existing entities. Another use case is when you have really large entities with quite a number of properties, but your store procedure returns only a subset of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them. In that case, for optimization reasons, you may want to create a small complex type that has only the properties that you want to return from the store procedure. Now, let's simulate that here. Let's imagine our getCourses function import returns only a few columns, and we would like to create a complex type for optimization reasons. So how do we do that? It's very easy. We open up the function import. Now, as you see, currently it's returning a course entity. I want to change that to a complex type. But currently I do not have a complex type that maps to the result returned from this store procedure, because I just deleted that. So how do we create one? We click Get Column Information. Now here in this table, we can see the columns that are returned from this store procedure. For example, course ID, which is an int32, author ID, which is again an int32, title, which is a string, and so on. So now we can create a new complex type here. By default, the name of the complex type is the name of the store procedure plus underline result. I personally do not like to have underline in the name of my classes, so I can simply change that here. And click OK. Look, under complex types, now we have getCourses result. And it has these few properties here. Note that you have full control over this class. So for example, you can go and delete one of these properties if you don't want that column that is returned from the store procedure. Well, that's pretty much it for this lecture. I hope you enjoyed it and thank you for watching.